Oh my gosh. That was kind of weird. I think, I don't know if I missed a button or not. Oh no, Moscow's a 4 of 107. But still, it's like any of these splits that are like single digits are like really competitive, so it's hard to save time on them. Who uses the gladiator spear? Mario uses it. Oh, I didn't do my 1 frame jump through the roof. Hello, RDD. But I was playing. I was playing around. This is serious business. Double. Second coup is a rotten egg. Hey, I saved time in Adobe Nairobi. Minor victories. We'll take them. Love closing dialogue box. The closing dialogue box. Hey, we didn't save time in Beijing. Oh, that one is the silver split that I'm running against. Okay, trip to Moscow. Where's the item? Alright, we're gonna get this item and menu to it. Always option 1. Hey. First item I'm going to pick up here in Rome is the gladiator spear. Who would use the gladiator spear? The answer may surprise you, but hopefully not. It's gladiators. Trevi Fountain's the largest blank in Rome. The answer also may surprise you. That jump to the pipe may also surprise me. Get destroyed, Ludwig. That exceptional Ludwig fight does not even save a second anymore. Okay, we gotta read in Paris. Wings 2 and 3. Now added reading. Reading. Oh, Felix Sandro. Hashtag Gothic architecture. Still on rivets. Alright, we successfully opened the pause menu without jumping. Your question. You. Very good. Alright, who's ready to go to Hotel Esplendido? You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can win or lose. Frame perfect. You can lose or win. You can easily win this game. Put your card in the ring. You can easily beat this game. Just pop these scoops in the brain. Okay, okay. Menuing. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. Great. The floor and the ceiling in this room are identical. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can easily win this game. Put your card in the ring. You can easily beat this game. Just pop these scoops in the brain. Okay, okay. Toot toot. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. Esplendido. All right, we're going to Sydney. We're halfway home. Don't mess with me, princess. Championships. Championships is the second question. Been a long point. Year question. Nice try, princess. Oh my gosh, I missed a pipe. She asked me the year question, I immediately missed the pipe jump. Alright. All roads lead away from Athens. BB. Dr. Wiley. All right, here comes Iggy. Great. It doesn't look great. That's why we got the split rankings. Easy Caro. Beat. obelisk. That was weird. It was always option 1. I wanna take you to a beautiful place where the wind comes down and sweeps right over your face. I'm talking New Orleans. It's a city on the river where the rain comes down and the seas deliver. Every day and every night, thinking about in the morning or late at night. I wanna take you to a beautiful place. Let no one deceive you. Don't let them take your style of grace. Car stars and picture shops, circuit fountains and buildings, bridges, towers and lanes. Let none of them come between you as you may. So go on, take a step and take another. Take it till you're here. You're just a walk out from the corner to the beach. Yes, take. Nice. That's what I'm here for. We're not here for low times. We're here for getting songs stuck in your head. We need some red lanterns. Use a tidal wave. Tidal wave. Loincloth, circle. Out of my way, kid. Any red lanterns out tonight? No. Okay, whatever. That's all red lanterns there. It's not really, but whatever. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can easily win this game. Put your card in the ring. You can easily beat this game. Just pop these scoops in the brain. Okay. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. You can win or lose. You can lose or win. Win. Alright, it's time for London. Win. Just say win. Thank you for being a friend. Big Ben is a bell. Hashtag Gothic architecture. Let's go post offices. Great. Alright, final boss. Come on, Roy. Get in. Oh no, it's Bowser. I stopped the timer. We'll just throw this conveniently located lever here. I forgot that thing was there. We all knew that thing there. Oh no, Bowser. You fell in your own trap. Boo-hoo. How is he gonna make it out of this one? He's not. He's permanently dead. Bye. Congratulations. Yes. That has just unseated a, like, 10-year-old world record. I'm also glad I didn't, I didn't PB by, like, 1/2 second, so I have to, like, retime it. And there you go. We finally did it. Yeah, a 10-year-old had the record. The record existed way back in, before I even went to SGDQ the first time. This record had existed as a 21:43, 21:34 SDA timing. But this one, that one would be a 21:29 in SDA timing. The end.